Hey everyone, welcome to Two Car Pros. My name is Ryan, and today I'm going to show you exactly how to change the brake pads and rotors for a 2008 Chevrolet Impala. Brakes are really easy, but you have to get them just right, obviously for safety reasons. So follow along and you'll be just fine. Let's jump into it. So right here and right here are the bolts that hold the brake caliper to the car, and it's a little difficult to film due to the rears not being able to turn like the fronts. So grab a 14mm. I like to use a wrench here, and we're going to loosen these bolts. A lot of the time, these bolts are on very tightly, so break them loose before you try to get them off. Unlike the front, these actually have the slide and bolt kind of built in together. It's interesting. Let me just remove that. There we go. And remember, the slide bolt with the little black plastic bit goes on the top. And then we can just carefully walk the caliper off. There we go. And just set it in such a way that it's not just hanging by the brake line. Then on the back side here, we can remove these 13mm bolts that hold the caliper bracket to the car. And these could be on really tight, so you might want to get a breaker bar or something. With that bolt removed, we can go ahead and remove our mounting bracket. And then we need to remove this T30 Torx, but when you try to take it off, the entire thing spins. So take a screwdriver, put it in between the studs, and hopefully we can get that loose. There we go. That's when it pays to have helpers. And then we can remove our rotor. There we go. Then we can place our brake rotor link down below in the description, and I've already cleaned the entire rotor off with some carburetor spray to get rid of the manufacturer's grease on there. Put it on so it lines up with that bolt hole. Then we're going to replace this between you and me. If the camera wasn't rolling, I probably wouldn't even bother putting this back in, but if you do, make sure you put some anti-seize on it, just as a nicety for the next person working on your car, which is probably you. Torque spec for that is 124 pounds or pounds-inches, so not very tight at all. I would just say, I don't even have a torque wrench that goes that low. I would just say, you know, wrist tight, it's perfectly fine. And then we can replace our caliper mounting bracket. Note that I've already replaced the clips. They just pull off and put back on with our kit. And you can just slide the old brake pads out. Super easy. Just orientate this like this. You can load your brake pads in if you want early, but you can also put them in after you put the bracket on. And on this car, I found that to be a little easier. I'm just gonna cinch these down. And then the torque spec for these is 88 foot-pounds, which is quite a lot. There we go. You know, a torque wrench is perfectly fine. I would just say very tight. 2-arm tight for sure. There we go. And then we're going to place our brake pads. And I'm going to put the wear indicator one on the inside, which is where I always put it and where I found it on this car as well. There we go. And the back side goes in just like the front. It's pretty easy. Just line up the grooves here and push that in. Sometimes you have to push on this surface on the clamp, kind of like this. It kind of helps walk it in a little bit, just like that. It's very easy. Just make sure that both of these are fully clamped against the brake rotor so there's no gaps here, because if you try to put the caliper on like this, it's gonna be really difficult. So we want it to just kind of smush down. There we go. Next, we need to retract this piston back in the caliper, so go over our new brake pads. I have this nice tool. These are not very expensive, and link is down below in the description. And what this is going to do is go down into the piston itself and rotate so it doesn't break anything. Oh yeah. If you don't have one of these, which is totally fine, just put a brake pad right here, like it's normally going to be sitting, and use a pair of channel locks and just slowly push this piston back in. But this tool does make it nice. So I'm just going to slowly wind this back in. And it's about consistent pressure. You're not trying to like rocket ship it back. You just keep going. And then it'll just stop. Like, you won't be able to turn this anymore. Don't like try to Hulk it down. Once it hits its limit, it's done. And if you do it any further, you might break it. We're just trying to get the caliper back on the brakes. So now we can carefully put our caliper back on, making sure our brake pads are fully pressed up against our rotor. Put our caliper on like that. Very nice. Making sure the brake line itself isn't all tangled up. My slide bolt back in, I've already cleaned it off and re-greased it. And when you put these on, make sure the little rubber boots are sitting in their home. A lot of the time they'll collapse over and make a big headache. So just kind of watch out for that. And then our torque spec for these two slide bolts is 40 foot-pounds. If you don't have a Torx wrench, that's totally fine. One arm tight will be sufficient. And there we go, rear brakes changed out, and I showed the passenger side, but the driver's side is exactly the same, just on the other side. Before you go driving off, hop in the driver's seat with the engine off. Go ahead and press the brake paddle firmly all the way to the bottom of its travel. And then let it come back up slowly. Do this slowly. Do this 4 to 6 times until you get an extremely firm pedal. What you're doing is basically taking up any gap between the piston and the pads and the rotor, so that way your brakes work. Otherwise you'll push the brake and nothing will happen, which is obviously the opposite of what we want. There's number 6, and I can just tell this is a very firm and good pedal. Now before you go tear it off down the road, you need to break in your pads, or what's called bedding them. Basically you have a new surface along with another new surface that need to be introduced. Otherwise you'll create brakes that don't work properly. They'll develop a bit of a glaze on them. They won't work properly, and you'll be unhappy with your braking performance, so it's important to get this right. Basically, what you're going to do is accelerate up to about 10 miles an hour in your neighborhood, look around, make sure nobody's around you, be safe, and you're going to just touch the brakes together. A little contact while the rotor is rotating, and that's going to create a little bit of brake dust to kind of go off, and then you're going to release. So you just push, let off, push, let off. Go back up to 10 miles an hour, push, let off, push, let off. I would do that 6 to 10 times. And then after that, your brakes are all broken in. So then your brakes will actually work effectively. And you have to do this every time you put new brakes onto a new rotor or new pads onto an old rotor, anything like that. Anytime new surfaces are introduced, braking in brakes is essential. Don't skip it. So that's how to replace your rear brakes on an '08 Chevrolet Impala. In the industry, this is called a gravy job, which means it doesn't take very long and you can charge a decent amount for it. They're going to charge you probably $400 just to do this rear brakes. And this is something you could do on a Saturday in your driveway, no problem. Do not pay for this. You can do this, and all the links are located down below in the description. And if you have any questions, of course, you can go to our website, 2carpros.com, and ask a question for absolutely free, where an automotive expert will be along shortly to help you out. Thank you so very much for watching. If you found this video helpful or interesting at all, please consider becoming a member by clicking that join button down below. It's a direct way to help my channel out. Barring that, a like, comment, subscription go a whole long way of helping my channel out again, and I really, really appreciate that as well. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.